If you welcome 2023 with a glass of wine, this video is for you. Today we are going to trace the journey of Sula wines. But traditionally, India is not a wine drinking nation. So how is Sula changing that? In December 2022, the company also went public. What does this mean for Sula? We are going to find out in this episode of the Indian Billionaires Code. As India was ruled by the British and not the French, whiskey is the nation's drink of choice when it comes to alcohol consumption. Vodka, rum, beer are also clear winners. Wine makes up less than 1% of India's massive alcohol market. Also, there's this perception that wine is for the elite. And this is not entirely wrong since wine is way more expensive as compared to a bottle of rum. The masses can't afford it. It is also perceived that wine needs to be consumed with international dishes rather than Indian food. Knowing all these constraints, why did Rajiv Samant decide to start Sula? Starting Sula was not part of his plan at all. He actually wanted to sell his ancestral land in Nashik. In the meantime, he tried growing organic mangoes and other fruits, but he didn't really take to that. He then realized that Nashik had the perfect climate for growing wine grapes. Back then, the wines were all table grapes for eating and raisins rather than wine grapes. But he knew that his idea had potential. He was inspired by California's wine country, Napa Valley. Convinced by this business plan, he visited California and met with Kerry Damsky, an eminent winemaker who helped him put his idea into motion. In 1996, Rajiv established Sula Vineyards. The name Sula comes from his mother's name Sulbha and symbolized the rich Indian heritage of his wines. In 1997, they started growing wine grapes in Nashik region and also planted varieties like the Sauvignon Blanc and the Chenin Blanc for the first time ever in India. They had built this huge winery, but a major task ahead for Sula and Samant was to change the existing perceptions of Indians towards wine. And he did this in two ways. They made wine affordable yet exclusive, and they sold not just wine but experiences. When we talk about affordability, in Mumbai, an international wine costs a minimum of rupees 1,500. But Sula promises similar international quality within the price range of 700 to 1,200. And if you have to pick up a couple of bottles for a New Year's Eve party or a wedding, the cost between choosing an international wine and Sula can be huge. And today, customers are not just looking for products, they are actively looking out for new experiences. Sula capitalized on this by organizing wine tasting events and tours of their vineyards. This helped them establish a direct connection with customers. They built a tasting room in their factories and also organized an annual 2-day event called Sula Fest that combined the best music with wine and beverages. This helped the company draw a lot of young customers to the brand. Now, the reason Samant started Sula in Nashik was because it had the perfect climate for growing wine grapes. But we can't say the same anymore. There may soon be a day where Sula may not be able to retain the quality of its wine due to adverse climate change. When it rains all through September, when we face extreme cold waves in December, we rant about this erratic weather on social media. But the real impact is seen on the ground, literally, in our crops and agriculture. In January 2016, Sula Wines issued a press release to flag the growing impact of unseasonal rainfall on its grape harvest. Because of this, their harvest started fully 2 weeks earlier than ever before. If left unchecked, this can adversely impact India's growing wine industry and Sula's wine quality. Even with these threats to their business, Sula Vineyards went public in December 2022 and aimed to raise around Rs 950 crore via the initial public offering or IPO. This is a 100% offer for sale, which means there will be no fresh issue. Through this IPO, the company will give existing shareholders an option to exit. The opening date was 12 December and it closed on 14 December 2022. The shares were priced between 340 to 357 rupees and the company got listed on the markets at rupees 361 a share on the NSE. In 2022, several firms have got listed on the exchanges. But what sets Sula apart from these other companies is that it has been in business for over 20 years before getting listed. And they have a track record of profitability, unlike the other companies that went public with no profit margins. In the financial year 2022, Sula's revenue was 456 crore and profit after tax was 52 crores. Sula Wines is also a market leader with a market share of 52% in the 100% grape wine category, but even with a large market share, consumption of wine still stands at less than 1% among the Indian population. There's a lot of potential to break these barriers and grow this under-penetrated wine market. But will climate change allow Sula to grow at this crazy pace? Or will it turn tides for their business? We will have to wait and see how this pans out for Sula. How did you get introduced to Sula Wines? What are your thoughts on the company's IPO? Tell us in the comments. And wishing you all a very happy New Year 2023. Cheers!